The name of this band is called Sellout Boy. What is going on, my mates? Hope everyone's doing very well. So I have a quick question for everyone, just really quick. Have you ever waited really long for an album to come out, and when it finally came out, you were just like,
I've waited 6 months for this?
I think that anyone that listens to music at all ever has had some type of similar experience like that, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I chose 10 albums that were pretty darn disappointing for me. Most of them were disappointing for me. Some of them were like, okay, like I could see why these were disappointing for other people, so I tossed a couple of those in as well. I wasn't going to make this specific to pop punk, but I was looking at the list and I was like, yeah, like I'd say like a solid 8 or 9 out of 10 of these are pop punk. So most disappointing pop punk albums ever. Just really quick, you gotta go follow the best freaking brand in the game, dude. Freaking Mates Club. I make it, I ship it, I pretend that I know how to do the accounting. I really just try my best with the accounting, but I literally do everything as far as the brand is concerned, and if you like care to support me in any type of way, it's probably the best way to do it. First up on the chopping block is an album that I waited for a while, an album that I was pretty darn excited about because this particular band loved for a long time. They're my absolute life in high school. You know, I still have mad love for them, don't get me wrong, but this was an album from a band called The Wonder Years called Sister Cities. Now for me, this is the type of album where I heard it a few times, maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 times, I don't know. And I heard it and I was like, dude, like this is really good. But I don't know, maybe it's just me. In fact, I know it's not just me that thought it was a little bit disappointing, but for me, like why I thought it was disappointing wasn't necessarily like my first impression was like, oh dude, like they goofed or something like that. But for whatever reason, there's just something about the album that just doesn't stick with me like at all. Like there's nothing about that album that makes me want to go back and listen to it. Nothing at all. And that is a factor that I kind of use when I'm like measuring an album. I got some iced tea, dude. But yeah, that album was just incredibly disappointing for me. Let me know what you think. I know a lot of people loved it, so I might get roasted, but let me know. So a lot of these bands I actually really love or like or enjoy or enjoyed at one point, which is why these albums were so disappointing for me. This next one is an album called Around the World and Back by your boys in State Champs. And here's the thing, dude. They seem like the coolest guys, and The Finer Things was one of my favorite freaking albums of 2013. It was like the 2013 of Under Soil and Dirt. It was like that big of a deal to me and a lot of other people, but as soon as they just released Around the World and Back, I was like, I don't like this path that they're going on, you know what I mean? Just as a selfish fan, I was like, I don't like what they're doing. They need to do what I want to do. But there's just something about this album that was just really poppy that I didn't like. It just felt like they took a little bit too much of an influence from like 5 Seconds of Summer. It just kind of felt like they're like, okay, so 5 Seconds of Summer, they're killing the game, playing in front of large crowds, large venues, and I can kind of tell that's like what State Champs wants. That's kind of what they like. They like that big band feel. I could be completely wrong, but that's definitely what it seems like to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. I support that. I back that. But this album and their album after that, they're just not for me. I just didn't care for it. I don't know. What do you think, dude? Next up is a Fueled by Ramen Core band. I love this band so much. I love the 2 members in this band. I think it's back to 2 members. I'm not 100% sure. But the front bottoms, Matt and Brian Sella, Matt Uchik, I think that's how you say it. They signed to Fueled by Ramen, and you know, of course I was a little bit worried, and they released an album called Back on Top, which wasn't my favorite, but I was like, okay, like this isn't completely spoiled. They haven't completely, you know, told this band just, hey, like really just homogenize your sound, really just play a little bit of general rock and roll. Kids love that. But I don't know, there was just something about this album that made me go, wow, they've completely lost their edge and they're just some band now. But they're self-titled and Talent of the Hawk. They just had this undeniable edge to them. They just had something, there was just something different about them, dude. It was definitely just lost in Going Gray. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I don't dislike this band now because of this album or the fact that they're signed to Fueled by Ramen. They've lost a little bit of the magic. All right, so there's this band, right? The name of this band is called Sellout Boy. They have this album called Mania that came out not this year, that it was just really bad, dude. I don't really want to talk about it, but if you're considering listening to it, my advice would be don't, because it's really bad. But this band has a lot of other really good albums, like Take This to Your Grave, From Under the Cork Tree. I'm really conflicted about Fall Out Boy. I think everyone is at this point who was a big fan at one point, because it's like, dude, Like, what happened? Have you ever been going to hang out with your best friend of all time, and when you're pulling up to their house and you knock on the door, there's no answer, and you walk in and you find that your best friend has passed away? I hope no one has ever had that experience, but this is kind of what this album was like for me, this one that I'm about to talk about. LP2 by American Football. This is a very long-awaited album. That's why I used the best friend analogy. This was the follow-up to a highly loved album that wasn't really loved until long after it came out. I think thanks to like Tumblr and Pitchfork or something. I don't know. But LP1 by American Football is highly regarded. People really loved their self-titled album LP1 that came out in 1999. But this album just really fell short in all areas. It wasn't like, oh man, this is hot garbage, dude. But it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of like how Turnover had to like follow up Peripheral Vision. That's just not an easy task, and I'm sure there was a lot of pressure. People loved LP1, dude, so I'm sure they were just like, dude, like, what do we do? But since then, they've put out another album, and I think it's really, really good. It's called LP3. You should go check it out, but LP2 just, it ain't it for me, dude. But LP3, you should go check it out. I'm sure at this point, many of you are aware that I do live in the state of California. And the reason that I bring that up at all is because that's also the name of a really, really disappointing album by a really, really overall good band called Blink-182. Now, I'm not going to say that I was like, just had the highest expectations for this album, but there was something about it that just made me excited because, you know, like Neighborhoods was like really bad, but there was just something about this album that told me like, this is gonna be better, you know, like they got the Matt Skiba. I was thinking, okay, it's gonna be decent, it's gonna be better, but it isn't, and it wasn't, and it hasn't stuck with me at all, and the more I listen to it, the more it sinks in. The less I like it, the less good I think it is, and the worse things I have to say about it. So I'm just gonna stop there. Wasn't into it. I know some people were, and now they're touring with the Lil Wayne, so I mean, they just keep getting better, I guess. This album is also from a band that I really, really love or loved or had a lot of high hopes for at the time. Don't necessarily feel that way now, but the band is called Real Friends. The album is called The Home Inside My Head. It's the follow-up to their 2014 album. Maybe This Place Is the Same and We're Just Changing. That's pretty long. But anyway, their debut album was pretty underwhelming to me, and I did enjoy their EPs quite a bit more than that album. But at the time, I don't even know how old I would have been at the time. Younger than now, obviously. But I was like, you know what? I hadn't completely lost hope. But once they put out The Home Inside My Head, I was like, dude, this is just literally like just the same thing. Like even the band doesn't like this album, okay, dude? Like you can't even be mad at me, dude. Like this just objectively isn't their best work. I just wasn't sure what to think when I saw this for the first time, that they were doing a trilogy. I was like, why? Like why? What's the point of this? I just didn't understand it. It just really felt like a cash grab, and I was like, you don't need to do that. Like I'm sure you guys have at least like a good, like a tiny amount of, dude, I can't, freaking having an aneurysm over this, dude. But like, I'm sure y'all are decently set, like from all the years of this. But anyway, Banda's Green Day. It's the Trilogy thing that they did. I was just really perturbed by it. It just wasn't something that I liked. I wouldn't recommend going and buying or listening to it. Yeah, I'm just being really negative, but yeah. I know that all of you know that I really, really love this band, but this album was just so incredibly underwhelming to me, so extremely disappointing. It just felt very formulaic, but it's the self-titled album by The Story So Far. I've gotten so much heat for not really liking this album, but I mean, come on, dude. This is their weakest album. Come on, dude. It's just like they were like Under Soil and Dirt, very, very good. What You Don't See, very, very good. They're like, can we just like do the same thing one more time and have it be really good? And it's like maybe it just I don't know. And then Proper Dose came out, and that was everything that I'd been wanting for, hoping for, waiting for. They showed some progression. It was a little bit different, and it was just so much better. It was so refreshing, you know. They finally became the oasis that they'd been wanting to be for so long, you know what I mean? But yeah, this I don't know, man. Roast me in the comments, man. I don't know. I know a lot of people love this album, but I just don't. The more I listen to this album, the more I enjoy it, and the more I wonder why it was a disappointment for people, and why people say that based on this album and the songs on it, that this band sold out. I mean, it's pretty difficult to sell out as a rock band these days, let alone an even deeper subgenre of rock called pop punk. But anyway, The Peace and the Panic by Neck Deep, people are like, oh, they sold out. This is, and I'm like, in what world, dude? Like, no. Like, this is like, it's a really good album. I think it's a really good album. Truly don't understand why people don't like this one. I might have to make a whole like video on this thing, but I don't know, dude. I thought The Peace and the Panic, like, it's good. It was good. I continue to enjoy it. I think it's some of their best work, dude. Like, compared to like Rain in July and the other EP, it's just miles better, dude. I don't know what to say, man. If you hate this, tell me why. I have some recyclables in the back, and I'm about to go recycle and, you know, make the earth a better place, and then use that money for gas money, and then pollute the earth right back to the state that it was. But anyway, my mates, thank you so much for watching this video. Got a good one coming out tomorrow, a little interview with Kayak Jones, and then on Sunday there should be the turnover video. So just stay tuned for that, my mates. Thank you all so much. The road to 10K still going very strong. Love you all so much, dude. This is I mean, you all know how much fun I have doing this. So hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon.